Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to continue on yet again with this Swedish December series of beer reviews that I've been doing for you. And this is a brewery that I'm really excited to try. The very first time I'm tasting one of their beers, but I've heard very good things. And if you go onto their rate beer profile, most of their beers are rated well into the 90s, and this one's no exception. 96 overall and 99 in the style. So we're going to go to All In Brewing, who are based primarily in Göteborg in Sweden, or Gothenburg as we would say in English, and this one is their German Hefeweizen. This is called Wheat Seems to Be the Officer Problem. Comes in at 6%, meant to be a really good beer as I told you, but there's been two labels actually for this one. There was one that was a sort of greeny yellow colour, and then there's this one, and they've got different listings on Rate Beer, so I'm not quite sure if it's actually a different beer or a different recipe or whatever it is, but they've got two different listings, and as far as I'm aware this is the current version of this beer, but it's supposed to be very good, so I'm very excited to try this beer for you today. So I have to give a shout out to Victor from All In Brewing for this one as well. He gave me all the information on the brewery that I'll now tell you about. So as always, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from All In Brewing. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, as I told you, and there's all the usual social media things, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd. So feel free to follow me or get in touch with me through whatever means you like. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. To my Swedish viewers, apologies if any of the pronunciations aren't quite right, and do let me know some other Swedish breweries that you'd like me to have a look at. Always interesting to try new beers, and some of the Swedish stuff that I've tried so far has been pretty damn good, so always willing to try more new Swedish stuff. So anyway, to tell you about All In Brewing, so there are 8 people running this brewery, including 3 brewers, and they started up in 2013 under Pelle Frost, and they released their first beers in 2002, and the first one was a collaboration beer with Italian brewery Toccolmato. I think it was called Big Lager, and it's a sort of imperial lager, imperial pill style beer. Supposed to be very good, but they plan to have their own brewery in the future, but right now they actually brew most of their beers at other breweries. This one in particular was brewed at Stigbergets brewery in Gothenburg. So in their early years they travelled Europe making many collaboration beers with other breweries, as I told you a second ago, but recently they've been brewing most of their beers in Sweden, and they started brewing with Brewski in Helsingborg, and one of their brewers, Lucas, was actually working full time at Brewski, brewing both the Brewski beers and the All In beers. But since Brewski are actually working at near full capacity with their own things now, most of the All In Brewing beers are actually brewed at West Coast Brewery in Gothenburg, and there are 2 brewers there that brew both the West Coast beers and the All In beers, so they're not so much phantom brewers as they used to be, since they brew most of their own beers, albeit in different places around Sweden. But the 3 brewers are Lucas, Victor and Andreas, and they've always been into big kind of fruity, hoppy American style IPAs, but they also like imperial stout beers as well. And Victor and Andreas are actually the original brewers, if you like, and then Lucas was headhunted from another brewery but is now actually All In Brewing's head brewer. But they work as a team to create the beers, so this is maybe why the beers are so highly rated. If you've got 3 brewers who really know their stuff having input into these beers, then that explains a lot. But last year in 2014 they were actually voted as one of the top 100 brewers in the world by Rate Beer, and that's not an accolade to be taken lightly at all. That's a very good achievement. But every year, and it was actually last weekend just before I'm filming this video, at the start of November they have their own beer festival in Gothenburg, which is called All In Beer Fest, and in 2015 they actually had around 1,700 visitors and over 30 different breweries participating in that from around the world, and it was that's one of their kind of pride and joys, if you like. But some of the All In guys actually have a bar in Gothenburg together with some of the guys behind the Dugas Brewery, and you saw me review one of their beers. I've actually reviewed 2 of them I think at this point, and this is called the Brewers Beer Bar, so something you do want to check out if you do find yourself in Gothenburg, and I'm sure I can actually go up and visit there at some point fairly soon. I need to get up there and visit Gothenburg. It's supposed to be quite a nice city actually. So just to list a few of the other beers they've got, if you go on the Rate Beer profile you can see a list of them. I'm not sure exactly which ones are the core beers or if they're all produced as core beers or exactly how All In Brewing do it, but there's a good number of collaborations. You'll notice that they brew beers at Lervig, Toccolmato, Mohawk, Dugas, Brewski, Beerbibliotek, Demolen, Stigbergets, Stronso and West Coast, and as I said to you in the video, most of the beers are brewed at West Coast Brewery now in Gothenburg. So go and have a look at the Rate Beer profile and you get a list, an idea of all the different beers that they do, and from what I've been told, if you basically pick a style from All In Brewing, you pretty much are going to enjoy it. All the beers are very, very highly rated, and I'm really looking forward to trying this one. So anyway, that's your brief little bit about All In Brewing. I thank you to Victor again for providing all that information for me. Always cool when breweries do that. I really couldn't find anything on this brewery, so quite cool that he actually helped me out there. So a big thank you to him for that. So let's actually get on to the review part of this video now. So this one is a 6% German style Hefeweizen. It's brewed with Galaxy, Mosaic and Equinox hops. I think the Equinox used to be called HBC 366, and I'm sure Brewdog actually did one of their IPA's dead beers that was HB 366 or whatever it was. So very nice hop from what I remember, so really quite looking forward to trying this one. A huge big kind of citrusy and passion fruity hop if I remember rightly. But as you can see, this has a kind of very snazzy looking policeman on the front. It's quite a cool label, this actually. I do like it. I'll need to steam that off and keep this one, but quite cool. As you can see, wheat seems to be the officer problem. Quite an interesting name for a beer, I have to admit, but at the top you can see this is the All In Brewing symbol here, this nice hop flower there, kind of says on the side as well, Swedish crafted, Swedish products as you'll know, very, very good. This one, as I said, is brewed at Stigbergets Brewery, and oh no, this one actually, it says on the side, brewed at Brewski in Helsingborg, so this one must have been brewed a wee while ago actually. But as you can see, this is the Brewski bottle cap. I'll just take it above the light so you can actually see it. The light keeps reflecting off it, which is why I'm using the coins to balance the bottle on this one. But it looks a very nice beer, so we'll get it open and get on with the tasting. As you can see, really quite a big smoky opening on this one, but we'll get it out and into the glass. You can really smell the tropical fruit on this beer as you're pouring it out. It smells really nice. That was one thing I noticed with Brewski actually, was that they actually really like to put tropical fruit into their beers, and if these guys are really into the double IPAs and things, I bet they'll be a hophead brewery. So this one should be quite interesting. I'll pour the rest of it in a minute, but this is enough to let you have a look at it. As you can see, this beer is poured your typical kind of Hefeweizen colour, a really kind of bright goldeny yellow colour. There's a huge head on that. That's 2.5 fingers of a really frothy white head there. It's not transparent at all. It is actually quite opaque, but really I think a bright kind of orangey yellow colour. Looks a very, very nice beer. There's one or two little bits of sediment in there actually, and there's a bit of carbonation, a couple of big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there. There is more sediment in the bottle, so what I'll do, I'll pour just a little bit of in, because with a Hefeweizen I've always found it is a bit better if you have some of the sediment in there. But then I'll try it without the sediment and with the sediment, and we'll see how we get on with it. So let's have a look at the smell of this one before we get stuck into it. So yeah, as you would expect from a Hefeweizen beer, you've got a huge, big, kind of bready and yeasty malt base on this one. It actually smells quite sweet, and the banana is quite subtle in this one. The wheat smells very, very smooth as well. But those are all the elements you would expect. There's maybe a little bit of clove and pepper character to this one, but the thing I'm noticing about this beer straight away is just that the wheat smells very smooth and very clean. It's an odd thing to describe actually, but I've never, in all the memory I have of wheat beers or Hefeweizens, I've never smelt a wheat that comes across as being as smooth as that. I'd be interested to know if it's Swedish wheat that they've used in this beer actually. But behind all of that you can get a good bit of hoppy character as well. Some nice kind of lemony citrus coming out of this one. I think, as I said, that's the sort of Equinox hop coming out of this one, or HBC 366 as it used to be called. But there's also a bit of tropical fruit in there, maybe a bit of passion fruit actually. There could be a bit of grapefruit in there, but if it's Galaxy, I remember off the top of my head that Galaxy is one that really gives you some nice passion fruity flavours. And you can pick out a bit of the sort of floral aromaticity from this one as well, and that's Equinox and Mosaic. Mosaic gives you a little bit of earthy character too, and you can pick up a little bit of that in there. But there's also a good bit of grassy hop in there. The hoppy character is quite smooth, but the fruits punch their way out in this one. But the floral character, as I say, comes from the Equinox and from the Mosaic. The nice passion fruit notes that you're getting from this one are from the Galaxy hop. Really nice smelling beer this. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this guy. But as I always say, give your beers a good smell before you actually taste them, because it's always a good indicator of how they're going to come across. But let's get stuck into this beer then. So this is the wheat seems to be the officer problem from All In Brewing, based primarily in Gothenburg, but this one was brewed at Brewski in Helsingborg. Skål! Now that's really nice actually. It's for a Hefeweizen, I'm finding it's very, very hoppy actually. So it's nice though. It really works. Just as you, even from taking one sip of that, the juicy character that comes out of this one is really nice. Yeah, and that smooth wheat character that I was talking about, you can pick that up in the middle of the palate too. The middle of your palate is just blanketed with this big, smooth, bready wheat character there. You get a little bit, I'm getting a wee bit of a wheat spicy dryness just at the very back of my tongue there. But overall, it's very, very smooth. Maybe it's a bit of clove in there too. But yeah, the wheat character in this beer is so smooth, it's ridiculous. I've never tried a Hefeweizen like that, but it's very, very nice. Really good, really well done. There's a little bit of the kind of typical banana flavours in there, but those are quite subtle. This beer really does. The big main focus is on the nice, smooth, wheaty character in there, but there's a big hoppy presence to this beer, as you could guess from the aroma. Yeah, the tropical fruits are coming out there. Passion fruit, as I was saying, that's from the Galaxy hop. That's quite present in there. At the very back corners of the palate, there is just a little bit of a smooth, earthy character coming out there. That's the Mosaic hop. Very smooth and very nice. But as you move further forward, you get a lot more of the floral character coming out of this one. You could be forgiven as well for thinking that there's a little bit of sort of piney resins in this one. But again, that's very subtle. I think it's more of a kind of slightly spicy, floral, aromatic character that's coming out of this beer, and you'll feel that particularly as you come round to the front curve of your tongue. There's a good bit of a spicy, aromatic flavour coming out of this beer. Yeah, really nice actually. A lot of stuff going on in this beer, but that's a kind of brief taste of it without the sediment, so we'll just put the rest of it in and see how we get on. Maybe this will make the beer a little bit more malt forward actually. Good little bit. Don't know if you can see that. All the bubbles kind of sticking into the glass there. See if we can get a bit more of it out. Basically pouring a second head onto the beer now. But yeah, let's have a look at this guy with the sediment in it. Just let the beer balance. Oh yeah, you can smell the difference with it now as well with the sediment in there. There's a lot more of a bready character to it. But maybe my nose is just adjusted a little bit. But I definitely want to say, if you pour the sediment into this beer, it really comes across as being a bit more bready. But yeah, let's taste it. Doesn't make all that much of a difference to the taste. You still have that big, smooth, wheaty character to it. It changes the aftertaste a bit more. The wheat becomes a bit more prominent in the aftertaste if you put the sediment into this beer. And incidentally, you can't really see it all that much when you put it in. You can't really see the difference with it, but you know, the main thing is this is a beautiful beer. That's the whole point of this video. It's beautiful, beautiful beer. But yeah, the fruity character of this beer is quite interesting as well. There's a good bit of citrus character. As I said, around the front of the tongue you've got that quite dry and quite spicy floral aromatic character, and then if you move just behind the tongue, that's where you're getting this little oily bubble, and that's where a lot of the fruits come out. Definitely passion fruit. There's a bit of grapefruit in there. You are getting a bit of that more almost sour character that you get from grapefruit. That you can definitely pick up that in here. But yeah, really nicely done actually. As I say, with the sediment, the bready character comes out just a little bit more, particularly in the aftertaste. But the fruity characters in this beer just add a nice extra little touch. There is a bit of a citrusy element in there. A probably lemony citrus, I would say, that comes out, but it's quite a kind of, it's almost like more of a generic citrus character. It's quite sort of resinous, if that makes sense. It's very interesting actually, but it blends quite well with these nice tropical fruits in the beer. And to have a bit more of tropical and kind of sharper citrus in the beer really goes with the floral aromatic character that you get at the front of it. But yeah, that smooth wheat character that's in this beer is really nice. I've never quite come across a German Hefeweizen that's like that, but this one isn't German, of course. It is Swedish, but the main point of the beer is that it's pretty damn good, I have to admit. Very, very nice Hefeweizen. So yeah, you need to give this a try if you're into the Hefeweizen style. As I say, the thing that's really impressed me with this is the smoothness of the wheat in this one. But in terms of the body of the beer, I would say this one's really nice actually. It's mid-bodied, it's got a nice little bit of an oily mouthfeel. The carbonation is quite fine, but at the same time it does promote a little bit of the nice grassy, floral, aromatic character that's going into this beer. It's really nice actually. There's a smooth malty characteristic. Like I was saying, that wheat is ridiculously smooth. There's a little bit of spice in there, maybe a bit of peppery or sort of clove spice just towards the back of the palate. But the big part of the mouthfeel, this one, is the bitter and hoppy dry character. That's quite unusual for a Hefeweizen in my experience. This one is a bit hoppier than some of the actual German ones that you'll come across, but it's well balanced with that nice smooth wheaty character in there. So overall, this is a really, really top class beer, and I can see why these guys are rated so highly by Rate Beer. Top 100 brewers in the world of 2014 on the basis of this beer. Quite well deserved in my opinion. So yeah, go and check out All In Brewing. Don't just take my word for it. A lot of other people have told me that this brewery are really, really good. So hopefully I can try a few of their different styles of beer. It'd be quite interesting to try maybe an IPA and perhaps an Imperial Stout or something like that from these guys. Try one of the dark beers and one of the light beers, because the wheat beer is really quite different. Maybe a Scotch ale or even a barley wine would be another good one. So I'll need to see if I can get a hold of a few more of these beers. They were quite hard to get on System Beloga actually, so maybe I need to go to Gothenburg. But yeah, go and check out All In Brewing. As always, let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. I hope you've enjoyed the beer review. Go and check out these guys. Try this one if you enjoy Hefeweizens, but if not, just pick another style from this brewery and you really will enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and like the social media things. Always interesting to hear from you guys. So until my next review, it's Slange just now, and go and check out All In Brewing in Gothenburg in Sweden. Skål!